name is Emily Robertson. I'm a tour guide interpreter here at Mosaic Jekyll Island Museum. This afternoon we're going to be exploring some of the unique features at Hollybourne Cottage. This is going to last about 10 minutes. We'll be inside this building the entire time, inside this room actually. While we're in here, I do ask that y'all please do not touch anything. As you can see, this is still very much a preservation work in progress. We're doing some work in here, so just for our safety and out of respect for the folks who are doing the work, we do ask that y'all please do not touch anything. If you need a restroom at any point, they are back outside. There's a little white building located directly behind the cottage. And if you've got any questions throughout the time in here, just feel free to ask them at any point. As I mentioned, we're going to be exploring some of the features here in Hollybourne Cottage. The structure of Hollybourne Cottage's dining room reflected the Maurice family's passions and their love for Jekyll Island. Now, more than any other Jekyll Island Club members, the Maurice family treated their cottage as a home. Hollybourne Cottage, this building, was built in 1890 for a man named Charles Stewart Maurice. Charles Maurice was a bridge builder. He was based out of Athens, Pennsylvania, and he ran the Union Bridge Company. Charles and his wife, Charlotte, had 8 children. Once they became members here at the Jekyll Island Club, they decided they wanted a little bit more space and privacy, so they built a cottage to be able to accommodate that. Over the years, the Maurice family built a very strong connection to the island. They visited here every winter that the club was open from 1888 to 1942. The club season ran from January 1st to March 31st, but the Maurices always came early. They like to celebrate Christmas here on the island, and oftentimes they like to stay late as well. Right now we're standing in the dining room of Hollybourne Cottage. This is a place where families typically gathered. The Maurices would have spent plenty of time here over the years, making memories over dinners after fun days at the club. Obviously, right now, this room doesn't look like much of a dining room. As I mentioned just a minute ago, this is still a preservation work in progress. But because of the state that it's in right now, we have the opportunities to see some of the features that the Maurices included when they wanted to make this home special. Think of something in your house that shows off something you're passionate about. Anybody have any ideas? All right, some artwork that you've made, that's a good one. Family photos, that's nice. Your college diploma, that's a good one too. The Maurices had things that they loved in their house as well. Of course, when it was decorated, they would have had family keepsakes, furniture, that kind of thing that they loved. But they did things a little differently as well. They put the things they loved into the very structure of their house. I'm going to talk about 2 of the features that the Maurices decided they wanted to include and why they felt like they wanted them in their home. The first one is a system of trusses. The truss system in the dining room ceiling here demonstrated Charles Maurice's pride and confidence in his work. All right, so for those of you who are maybe not quite as familiar with bridge building techniques, trusses are the parts of a bridge that hold up the base that we walk or drive across. So if this is the part that we're driving across, these are the trusses, these little trapezoid shapes here. Charles Maurice was so proud of and confident in his work that he felt like he could put it in his very home. If it could span from one end of a river to the other, it could hold up a ceiling here. I'm going to pass that around so y'all have the chance to look at it. You're welcome to touch it if you'd like to. So if trusses are doing the work of holding up the ceiling in this room, where do you guys think they are located? Can you guys point to show me where you think they are? All right, very good, right here up above us. So we are not seeing the entire structure of the truss right now. We're actually just seeing part of it. This beam that runs straight through the middle, this is the bottom part of the truss, so that base that I was talking about. The trusses themselves are actually running all the way up through the 2nd and 3rd stories. They're helping to hold up some weight up there. But what they do is they allow for this big, wide ceiling in this room. All 10 members of the Maurice family would have needed a very large dining room where they could gather. These trusses are helping to hold up the ceiling without having any kind of load-bearing walls or pillars that would have taken up space in here. Charles Maurice trusted his techniques to keep his family safe and to provide solid structure in a room where he knew his family would spend lots of time together. The second component of this room that I want to talk about is tabby. The tabby in the walls here reflected the Maurice family's love for and connection to Jekyll Island's history. If you're a local, you've probably heard of tabby, but if not, that's all right. Tabby's a local concrete that's made out of water, sand, lime, and oyster shells. It was popular primarily during the colonial years, so if you've had the chance to explore this space, you have probably seen it in the Horton House, which is located a few miles north of here. That was built in 1743. Or if you've been over on St. Simon's Island, been to Fort Frederica, you've seen some Tabby ruins there as well. The Maurice family loves the history here on Jekyll Island. They even paid for some preservation work up at the Horton House while they were club members here. Tabby wasn't super popular by the time the Maurices came, but they loved it so much, wanted to feel like they had a piece of that history in their house, that they built it into the walls. So with everything that you know about Tabby from the things I've just mentioned, can y'all point to where you think it is located in this room? All right, very good, right over there on the wall. So you can see that that is some Tabby. It's sort of similar to how things were done during the colonial years. When you were building a Tabby wall back in the 1700s, what you would do is you would have scaffolding that served as a mold. You'd pour the Tabby, the wet concrete mixture, in there and let it harden. Take the scaffolding down, set it up on the second layer, and go layer by layer up until you had your wall. Take the scaffolding away and you were done with it. As you can see over here, there's pretty clear lines in the wall. Charles Maurice and his architect William Day, they did have it done in that traditional layers, but they collaborated a lot on this home. They decided they wanted to do things a little bit differently. Instead of having some scaffolding that you took down as you went layer by layer, they had scaffolding that they built on over time, and that eventually became part of the framework of the house. Unfortunately, the wood was getting a lot of moisture into it over the years. We had to take out a good bit of it because of that to protect the Tabby. But as you can see, we're kind of still in the process of redoing the walls, so you can actually see the Tabby that makes up the exterior of the house even while we're in here. As I mentioned a second ago, Tabby wasn't a very popular material by the time the Maurice family decided they wanted to build Hollybourne. But they used Tabby because they wanted something special in their house to show their love of Jekyll Island's history. As you leave here and continue to explore the other buildings in the historic district, I hope you keep in mind how the Maurice family truly saw Hollybourne Cottage and Jekyll Island as a whole as a family home. The structure of Hollybourne's dining room reflected the Maurice family's passions and their love for Jekyll Island. More than any other Jekyll Island club members, the Maurices treated their cottage as a home. The truss system in the dining room ceiling demonstrated Charles Maurice's pride and confidence in his work, and the Tabby in the walls reflected the family's love for and connection to Jekyll Island's history. If you want to learn more about any of the history here or visit some more of the cottages, please stop by Mosaic Jekyll Island Museum to purchase tickets for some of our tours. All of the money from y'all's tour tickets goes directly toward helping to keep our museum running and doing all the preservation work here in the historic district. So on behalf of the Jekyll Island Authority, I want to thank y'all for visiting Jekyll and especially for coming to this program. I'll stick around for a few minutes if y'all have any additional questions. Other than that, you are free to go. It's been my pleasure to share this piece of Hollybourne Cottage with y'all. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon.